A Queensland family is tonight mourning the death of a 69-year-old father fatally bitten by a venomous snake in a small town south of Mackay.
Every year, 58,000 snakebite deaths. Because if you account for population and you calculate the rate of snakebite deaths per 100,000 people in the population.
Kamala State School south of Mackay flooded with former students on Saturday. Celebrations for its 100-year anniversary taking a shock turn after sundown. A man killed by a snake while trying to save his mate.
All is not as it seems. When someone dies as a result of an animal attack, it's simple to assign blame, but in other cases, the animal assault was a really tragic coincidence and the victim's destiny nonetheless. Donnie Morrison was a gregarious child who was the class clown every day, according to his peers. His former students could perceive that he had changed somewhat by now, at the age of 68. 60 years later, a reunion had brought the men and ladies together, even though they had been away for a lifetime. It seemed like only yesterday that some of them had been sitting in the classrooms and strolling around the school premises. Donnie was one of hundreds of guests celebrating the 100th anniversary of Kamala State School. He was one of the many former students who attended the celebration and had great memories of the location. The school was located on the north coast of Queensland, 60 kilometers south of Mackay. The town of Kamala, which is rural and coastal, had cane farms and shrubs all around it. Donnie had never gone anywhere else. It was his birthplace. That evening, as he and his friend Lloyd Younger were mingling, Lloyd felt something painful on his ankle. He kicked his foot reflexively and looked down. There was a snake stuck to his leg. They thought the snake to be an eastern brown snake, so it wasn't just any snake. Its body shimmered and each of its glossy, beautifully colored brown-gray scales was precisely delineated in a dark brown line.
A man in his 60s has died after he was bitten by a snake in Queensland.
He's being remembered as a selfless friend, attacked as he was stepping in to save a mate who had been bitten first.
The reptile turning on the 69-year-old after it had been removed, biting him on the arm, sparking a rapid decline. Paramedics working on the man for over half an hour, but he couldn't be saved.
Its powerful physique and round jet black eyes were visible to them as it held Lloyd's leg. The snake, which is native to southern New Guinea and eastern and central Australia, is ranked as the second most venomous in the world, behind the inland taipan. It is common in both urban and rural bush settings, contrary to popular belief, and is found throughout Australia's arid regions. Locals are aware of them and the harm they can do. In Australia, the most lethal snake bites are caused by the eastern brown snake. To save his pal, Donnie realized he had to move quickly. He sprang into action, barely thinking about his own safety. He leaned closer to the snake, gradually while speaking with his companion to help him stay calm.
The snake was around his friend's leg and he was helping remove that snake.
The species of snake has not yet been confirmed, but the caller indicated it was an eastern brown. A report will now be prepared for the coroner.
From the symptoms that the patient had and the cardiac collapse, and it would be more than likely a brown snake, but again, that is just a guess.
Knowing the risks of the eastern brown snake, Lloyd was beginning to get nervous, but it was comforting to have his friend nearby. Donnie wrapped his hands cautiously around the snake's neck. He reached for it as they were only inches away from the coiling reptile. However, he underestimated the snake's head movement in the dim light of the evening, and it noticed Donnie's hands approaching it. Elapids strike at a speed of 2 meters per second. Even though the snake was striking at a comparatively sluggish pace, it was still fast enough to grab Donnie in an instant. It let go of Lloyd and spun around, snagging Donnie's arm in its mouth. He cried out, but he was able to get a hold of the reptile with the other hand. Feeling the strength of its muscles in his palm, he gripped its lengthy body tightly. The snake was twisting and squirming as he ran over to the edge of the yard. As far away from the guest as possible was his goal. It struck at him repeatedly as he held it out at arm's length. Each time, he was able to deflect the lethal blows by arching his body, but it still got him in the chest. Donnie had an innate desire to rub the spot on his chest where the snake had bitten him before hurling it into the underbrush and out of sight of the other partygoers. When he turned around, the festivities on the school field were still in progress. He recognized the faces of his old classmates and could hear the crowd's conversation. He started to feel lightheaded as he walked over again. He stumbled back towards Lloyd and fell to the floor at his feet. Those who witnessed him fall to the ground hurried over to his side. With his heart pounding the poisonous material to every part of his body, Donnie held his chest as the venom surged through his system. He was sweating sweating profusely and his head was throbbing. Although a man can be killed by just a small amount of venom of an eastern brown snake, Queensland's snake population is known to venomate 3 times as much when they bite their victim. Donnie was in a dangerous situation. Since 1956, anti-venom for eastern brown snakes has been available. It is an effective treatment, but the patient must reach a medical facility before their body gives out. Donnie was having trouble breathing. He breathed in quick, staccato gasps. It seemed as though a massive weight was bearing down on his chest, squeezing it. He gave in to the bite as his vision went hazy. People by his side turned him onto his back right away and started CPR. For those who witnessed it, the scenario was quite stressful. After calling for help, paramedics treated Donnie for 30 minutes while doing CPR. Nothing they did with the defibrillator to restart his heart worked. He has vanished. Lloyd had optimism even though Donnie could not be saved. He was evacuated to McKay Base Hospital, which is around 60 miles north of the school, when a chopper was summoned. He received treatment for the snake bite when he got there on time. The next day, he was discharged from the hospital. The joyous occasion had abruptly ended in tragedy. Everyone left in a state of shock and sadness when it was shut down. Months of preparation for what was meant to be a fun evening had culminated in a tragedy when Kamala lost one of its own. Donnie's accident and tragic death became widely publicized, making headlines. He appeared to be just another Australian that had been bitten by the eastern brown snake. He was now just another figure in the 1 or 2 deaths that type of snake causes in Australia each year. However, it went beyond that. The coroner reported that no venom was discovered in his body, despite the fact that he had obvious snake bites on his arm and chest. There was no doubt that he had been bitten, although 80% of eastern brown snake bites are said to be dry. In this instance, the snake bites the victim without injecting any poison. Some snakes may have malfunctioned, feeling ill, having venom glands that are broken or empty, or misjudging the distance to the prey and missing it entirely. However, if an intentional dry bite is given, as eastern brown snakes frequently do, it is meant as a warning. There's no need to inject venom when they bite defensively. The threat can be repelled by the blow alone. It appears that Lloyd was also bitten by a dry snake bite, in addition to Donnie. They were receiving a warning from the snake. In the last of the dusk light, Lloyd might have unintentionally fallen or trodden on the snake that was concealed in the grass. It swung defensively and instinctively, slamming its body around Lloyd's ankle and latched on. There was no need to employ venom because it was not acting violently or attempting to capture any prey. If the snake didn't bite Donnie with its venom, then what happened to him? Although a complete investigation into his death is still pending, it is thought that an unidentified underlying medical problem caused him to experience a heart arrest. Though his encounter with one of the world's most venomous snakes may have made him fearful, the venom itself did not directly cause his heart attack. Donnie's family expressed their sincere gratitude to everyone who hurried to help in a moving statement after his passing. Both individuals who observed the tragic event and others who attempted to revive him were offered assistance by them. They noted that many people in the Kamala community would miss Donnie, who had been a well-liked member. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share the channel, and click the bell to get notifications. Tell us about your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching Ultimate Misfortune.